Hey guys, welcome back to the Ginyu Farce. This is episode number 13. My name is Alex. I'm here with John.
Hello, hello.
And Brendan. What's up? And we are finally at this glorious moment where we are starting a Dragon Ball Z. And we're excited about it. Obviously, I mean, to us, I think we can all agree, Dragon Ball Z is the core of this show. So we wanted to watch Dragon Ball because it's good, right? Obviously. But Z is really where it's kind of at. So we are stoked to get started with it. As per usual, you can find everything related to our show on our link tree, which is linktr.ee/thegfp. There you'll find all the places that we are streaming, which is pretty much everywhere. You'll find our episode guide, so you can follow along, know what we're going to be talking about before it happens. And our Instagram's on there too. Trying to be fairly active on there, probably a story a day. So go ahead and give us a follow if you want to. So how are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling great. We're here.
Yeah,
we're in the thick of it.
Yeah, we made it. It's good, right?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to dive right in.
Yeah, cool.
This is where it all began.
Mm-hmm. For us Americans. Yeah, it really is. So just a quick recap from the last part of Dragon Ball. So where we left off, Hero defeats Yamcha in match 4 and is revealed to be Kami. Goku defeats Tien Shinhan in match 5. Junior performs the evil containment wave reflection to trap Kami in a bottle. Goku explains who Junior is to his friends. Goku defeats Piccolo to become the champion of the World Martial Arts Tournament and refuses the position of Guardian of Earth and leaves with his soon-to-be bride. So, this arc aired in April of 1989 in Japan, and in its first incarnation, it aired in September of 1996 in the U.S. The year is 761. Goku is 24, and Gohan is 4. So like I said, it aired in 96, and I don't know if sometimes I have a very weird YouTube algorithm. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it'll just randomly be this is a 90s cartoon block, and it'll just show what was on TV at that time. And I clicked on one, and that's probably why it tries to give me more, but it was a Dragon Ball Z episode, and it was in the Namek Saga, I think. And it was I was watching it, and I was very confused because all the voices were different. It was not the people that I was used to hearing. Goku wasn't.
We got to get these guys' names down.
Yeah, we do.
We really need
But it wasn't the normal people. And then I learned from this that they have the first incarnation was the Ocean dub, which came out in the late 90s, and then years later we got the Funimation dub, which is the one that we're familiar with. So they redid it all, and it was still edited, but it was less edited.
I do remember this because I do remember a discrepancy in voice actors.
I feel like it was on TNT, I want to say, for a while, and then it got bumped over to Cartoon Network, and that's when we get the version that we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was a weird time because
anime wasn't popular over here yet.
No, not only that, but cartoons or animated shows that weren't just for kids.
Yes, wasn't
a thing. So people were what is this? Why would I watch this? But
obviously it changed.
Yes, things changed. I think Toonami and Adult Swim did a lot for that kind of thing.
Most definitely.
So the Funimation dub came out in the mid 2000s, and then Kai, which is what we're watching, came out in I think 2010 or 2011, which is basically where they cut the whole show like to match the manga. And like, I mean, so far at least, it really feels like they did that, because this show is flying by. Like, there is not a second wasted, I feel like.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we should get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's start.
So, episode 1, Prologue to Battle, The Return of Goku. Goku's father challenges Frieza, who uses his supernova to commit genocide, killing him and destroying his home planet Vegeta. It is revealed Goku and Chi-Chi have a son, Gohan, named after Goku's grandpa. A mysterious alien lands on Earth and immediately takes his first victim. The alien meets Piccolo. Goku reveals to Bulma, Master Roshi, and Krillin that he has a son. Whew.
So yeah, a lot of stuff happened right off the gate.
Yeah.
We're gonna cover it as in depth as we can.
Yeah.
While also taking into account that people don't want to listen to us talk
for
4 hours.
Right. Right away, I had watched some of Kai, but not the whole thing, and I immediately remembered how much I don't like this intro.
Don't stop, we are.
That's terrible. Like, it's probably more, maybe like, it's less Americanized.
Yeah.
That's probably why I don't like it, because I liked the Rock the Dragon. You know?
Sure.
Dun, 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 dun. But this one is just like, it's not doing it for me.
It's kitschy, it's like that fun
yeah.
sort of. So I'm watching the regular as released version, just skipping through all the filler, just because I don't have good access to Kai.
Okay.
So I'm listening. So I've got like the original like Dragon Ball Z. So I've got the original like Japanese and like original Japanese intro for Dragon Ball Z. And, like it's basically like the same thing. Same intro for the original Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's still a hard rock sort of sound thing, but it's like not doesn't go as hard as the English version.
Yeah. And it's funny to think like that song probably influenced my music taste to an extent. I mean,
for sure.
Like it's like a pretty
for the longest time that was like the heaviest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. For sure. And the narrator's different too. I don't know. It's just different. I'm hoping he grows on me.
Yeah, we got 9 seasons.
Yeah.
So
7, because they condense it.
Is the Dragon Ball narrator the same like as the guy who was like narrating like all of Z?
I think so.
It was like
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
Because it's like kind of fun because like in like that one he's got like it's Dragon Ball.
It's more like whimsical.
Yeah.
And
then it's like
next
time on Dragon Ball Z. That whole thing. It's like all right.
Yeah.
It's like way to match the tone though. I'm like, good job.
It's just some growing pains, I think.
Yeah.
Watching this version, but the first scene of the show takes place in the year 737. So it's like way back in time, like before Dragon Ball even started. And this is all exclusive to Kai, right? So this is not in the regular version. They don't like foreshadow like this, but we see baby Goku, and he is a low-class warrior child. And then it cuts to, they don't reveal his name, but it doesn't really matter. His name's Bardock.
Yeah.
And he's Goku's dad, and his actual dad. And he is fighting some aliens, like in the atmosphere. He's like up in space. And he's getting ready for a showdown with Frieza, who we learn about extremely early. Bardock throws an energy blast, but it's absorbed by Frieza's giant energy ball, or his supernova. He sends the ball towards Bardock, and he becomes vaporized, but like before he dies, he like has a vision that he sees that his son, who is named Kakarot, will fight Frieza in the future, and then it shows like Gohan coming to Earth in a space pod, and
it's a lot.
This is like 2 minutes into the show.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of like the foreshadowing of Bardock. Like you should just start the show and we'll get to it when we get to it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Especially because like Bardock is like one of like the 5 Saiyans that look exactly like Goku.
Yeah.
Some slight alteration.
Yeah.
So
it's like, it was a lot.
I didn't realize this was gonna happen, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was a lot to take in. And then
like aliens, all these new characters.
Well, and then not even that. Like you finish up with the Bardock thing, and then you immediately run into like a giant recap of Dragon Ball. Like damn near the whole show minus Red Ribbon Army and Baba.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird to leave out Red Ribbon Army, but I'm not super upset about it.
I mean, it was probably the low point of the show.
I would say both Baba and Red Ribbon Army are the 2 lowest points.
Yeah. And there's after the recap up to even what we saw in episode 11 of our show, where Goku beats Piccolo, which his blood is purple in this recap. I noticed that's new. They did a little retconning there. But it's been 5 years.
And it's all been peaceful.
5 years of peace.
And now, after all of that recap, we finally get into the bulk of it, which is Chi-Chi can't find Gohan.
Yes.
Gohan's missing.
Yep.
So Goku is going to look for him. We get a glimpse of Gohan, but we've already seen Gohan in the dead zone.
Right, but that didn't really happen. But yes, we have seen him. Like, we know what he looks like. But, like, to somebody who's just following the canon, he's brand new. Yeah. Right?
Okay, well, if he's brand new to you, you should go watch the last episode, The Dead Zone, and then you can talk about when we first meet Gohan.
There you go.
But Chi-Chi can't find him. Goku's going to look for him. Gohan has a tail, and he's got the 4-star ball as a hat.
Yeah, and they like have a house in the woods.
And it's cute.
It seems pretty nice. They're just Goku's just like being a family man.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that very often.
Good old hunter-gatherer sort of mentality.
Yeah. And then and then there's a reunion at Kame House.
Yeah.
That's going on. And for some reason Chi-Chi doesn't go. Just Goku and Gohan go.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that Chi-Chi doesn't like her husband's friends.
Yeah. I mean, well, Chi-Chi doesn't like
fighting.
That Goku like is almost dying. Like, you know, like, and she like is like, I don't want you to hang out with those people because then you're gonna start fighting again. So like, I get it.
but like that's not really why he's fighting. But she doesn't know that he's an alien. We haven't gotten that far.
Right.
We're still in Dragon Ball mode at this point.
He's literally like exists to fight. Like that's his race, right?
Yeah. So we know about all that, and in the meantime, an alien space pod comes in, lands into a farmer's field.
Mm-hmm.
That guy dies pretty much immediately because Raditz pops out with what we see as the first power or scouter for power levels, and he reads the farmer's power level, and it's 5. So we can pretty much assume an average dude 5 power level. Yeah,
which is kind of interesting because there's like with one of the movies that came out, there's like a guide where they like show characters' power levels like even before we know what scouters are. And Goku's power level at the very beginning of Dragon Ball is 10. Like that's what he starts in episode 1 of Dragon Ball. He's 10. So an average guy is about half as strong as Goku was at the very beginning of the show. And he dies like right away, but it's like kind of cool how he dies, you know. He goes to shoot him.
Yeah, and Raditz just catches it.
Being a real G though.
Yeah, he catches it and then he flicks it back at him.
And he doesn't mean to kill him, but like you do see like like these people are super like flimsy. Mm-hmm. So he takes off. He's looking for Kakarot, but he's trying to scout in on the strong power levels, and he happens to pick up Piccolo's, which I thought was kind of cool that he runs into him first.
Yeah, because he's not that far away. He's closer.
Yeah, closer.
Goku is. He's like, there's 2 big ones. One of them's him. I'll go to the closest one first.
Yeah. And Piccolo's power level is 322.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we don't know what Raditz's
No, we don't.
is yet. But they have a little standoff, and he's like, Piccolo's basically like, who the hell are you? Like,
I think he shoots him.
Please leave.
With an energy blast or something.
Because Piccolo's like super serious, right? Like,
yeah, all the time.
Yes, and he demands your respect. So he's like shoots a blast at him, I think, and it like does like nothing basically, and then
singes his leg hair.
Okay, singes his leg hair. Yeah, and then he's like about to like attack him, but then he picks up on Goku's power level, right? And so he heads out. And Piccolo's like, what the heck was that?
Yeah,
like,
WTF, bro.
Yeah, like, this is not good. This is my planet to take over.
Exactly. And you know, that is a running theme. Piccolo definitely, in the beginning of the show, is like, no, I'm going to rule this planet. No one else can do it. I'll be a good guy just to stop you from being the bad guy, so I can be the bad guy.
Right.
But in the meantime, we have a nice little reunion at Kame House.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool. The one thing that I know was not in Dragon Ball Z is they tell you that Launch left to chase after Tien 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know those motherfuckers heard me complaining about it and put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because they're like, we haven't heard from Launch in like 5 years.
But yeah, so I mean, there's Bulma, Roshi, Krillin, and Turtle.
Yep.
Roshi's still pervy.
Yeah, he is.
One of the first things out of his mouth is something pervy.
Yeah, something. He's just harassing Bulma as per usual. She continues to be in his presence for some reason.
Yeah, she just keeps coming back to him. So I mean, like, whatever. Glutton for punishment.
It was the 80s, man.
You would think, like, at a certain point, like Goku or Krillin or something would be like,
Roshi,
bro, like, this is not okay.
Nope.
Like,
never.
I'm gonna slap the
You're
bitch
just
out
like
of
you're
you.
just like getting drunk and you're groping women, man.
Yeah,
like the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
but I love you, but you gotta stop.
Yeah, this isn't right, man. But anyway,
but Goku and Gohan get to the house, and everyone's very surprised.
Yeah,
that Goku is procreated.
Yes.
Just imagine if me like pulling up and being like, "Hey guys, here's my third kid that I never told you about."
Yeah,
from 5 years ago.
I didn't even know you had a second.
It's coming.
It's coming. Almost here.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Congrats.
And this kid wants to be a scholar, right? He's like different from Goku. He just wants to learn about stuff, and he can't be trained.
Yeah, we find out that Chi-Chi will not allow him to train in martial arts. She just wants him to be a scholar, no fighting.
Yeah, which as a kid I was like, that sucks, man. Like, why is Chi-Chi gotta be like that? She's a bad character. But now as an adult, I'm like,
oh no, yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, because like, you just don't want your family members to die. Like, I get it now. Like, I would probably be the same way. But Goku's got a couple of Dragon Balls at home. So he's got a total of 3, because one of them's on Gohan's head, right? On his hat.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, Goku's like, what the hell is that? He senses something. And
here comes Raditz.
Yes. This alien lands there. And he tells Goku that his mission was to destroy all life on this planet. He was sent to Earth to kill everyone on it.
And then he also, well, I guess that's kind of the next episode. But we do get to see Krillin get absolutely murked by Raditz's tail.
Yeah. He
bitch slapped.
Well, he's like, I don't know who you are, but like, go away, like, shut up. And he's like, just get out of here. And then he like, with his tail, he like smacks him. And he goes flying into the house, I think.
Yeah,
into the side of the house.
Inside the house. It's pretty freaking silly.
And then
it should have happened to Yamcha, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, probably.
That's what it should.
Yamcha's not there.
He gets
he's not there. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he gets his own later.
Yeah.
But so at this point they're like, who is this guy? And then they're like, oh shit, he has a tail. But that's where the first episode ends. Right there. So in 22-ish minutes, we got a lot
of info.
I am like having whiplash from this, like compared to Dragon Ball, where it's like it moves fairly slow.
Yeah.
Like this is like, I feel like a maniac typing as
we got
notes.
And we got just as much stuff in
like martial arts fantasy adventure to like, oh, now it's a space opera.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Going into episode 2, the enemy is Goku's brother, the secret of the mighty Saiyan warriors. Raditz reveals Goku's birth name is Kakarot and explains his Saiyan heritage and reason for being on Earth. Raditz defeats Goku and kidnaps Gohan. Goku and Piccolo team up in order to take down Raditz. Goku and Piccolo fly off towards Raditz to rescue Gohan.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you explain it like that, there's really not a lot that happens, but there's a lot to talk about in this episode. Starting with Raditz explaining to Goku precisely who he is.
Yep.
He goes very in depth on that. He even asked Goku if he hit his head as a kid.
Yeah.
As one of the questions.
He's like, what's wrong with you? Did you hit your head?
Yeah.
And Master Roshi's like, yeah, he totally hit his head.
Yeah. And then he describes that before he did, Goku was a terrible kid. And like he didn't know what to do. And then after Goku hit his head, he was really nice.
He became super nice, because he was, when he first landed, he was like a dick, right? And like Grandpa Gohan was like totally overwhelmed with him. He was like, why did I do this? He's like regretting his life choices. And then he fell and he hit his head, and then he was like a super nice kid at that point.
Yeah. Just disclaimer, if you've got any kids dealing with their terrible twos, do not give them brain damage.
Do not drop them.
We do not
condone that.
It doesn't actually work like that.
Don't lobotomize your kids.
Yeah.
Silly.
So I think we get our first swear in this scene as well.
It's like hell, or what the hell?
Yeah, they say like hell and like damn it and stuff.
Yeah,
which
the easy ones that you can get away with.
Yeah. Like the low swears, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're gonna swear in here. All right, that's cool.
And then throughout that, Raditz reveals his name is Raditz, and then like throws the kicker out, and you're my brother.
Yeah.
Then we go more into detail with the sayings that they're basically weapons for hire. Yeah. They conquer planets and sell them to the highest bidder. But there's not many of them left. They used to be a great race, but I think there's 4. They say.
And they say that a meteor hit their planet and destroyed it.
Yes.
So they don't know.
Yeah. Definitely
the truth. A cover up.
Frieza propaganda.
Yes.
Yep.
There was a cover up. Massive cover up. So he said that Goku could have, had he not hit his head, he would have destroyed everything on Earth within a couple of years, given the size of the moon. And Goku at this point still doesn't know that you transform under the full moon. He's like, what are you talking about? Which is just crazy because he's 24.
Yeah.
And like, how could you not know?
Well, he had his tail removed, remember?
Yeah, but like, your kid has a tail.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, he's probably in bed before the full moon comes out.
But like, don't you think like Master Roshi or Krillin, like, before Goku like left to do his own thing, would have been like, hey,
no,
just so you know.
Remember how surprised they were when he showed up with a kid? No one thought he was gonna go off and have a baby.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And you wouldn't know that even if you did, that it would have a tail.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
so that's sense. Fair. But you'd think at some point they would have like been sitting around a campfire with beers, and he would have been like, oh hey, by the way,
they haven't seen him.
Well, also
in 5 years.
That's how Grandpa Gohan like died by like turning into a Usurper. So like, I don't know if we have like the name out for it yet, but like
we don't.
That's all right. Azure. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. But like, so like, they'd also have to explain to him that like he killed his grandfather.
Yeah.
And so like I'm pretty sure that's like it's like we gotta.
Yeah, it's a lot of baggage to get into, But anyway, everyone else is like, oh shit, this is starting to make some sense because he does transform under the moon. And it's just funny to think that people on Earth are so weak that he could have done it in a couple of years. I mean, as a great ape, I suppose so.
Yeah, that would have been the issue, or that would have been the kicker.
He would have had to fight King Choppa.
Yeah. I mean, it could have. I don't know. I don't think anyone could have stood up to Maozu.
Pampa.
Yeah, Pampa would have taken him out for sure. But he basically says to Goku, "Hey, you should come conquer planets with us and do the Saiyan thing." Goku says, "Fuck you," essentially.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. And then Raditz says, "Okay," and then beats him up, kidnaps his son, and tells Goku he can have his son back if he agrees to join him, but he also has to kill 100 people by tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So we all know that, Raditz.
And he's like, toss the bodies on the beach.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
So just let him.
I'm like, damn.
Let the bodies hit the
Yeah. Exactly.
Silly.
And obviously we know that Goku can't do that, right? Like, he's not going to kill 100 people.
Yeah.
He, like, talks to birds and, like, hangs out with, like, chipmunks and stuff. Like,
I think he knows 100 people.
And so he says that Raditz and the other two Saiyans, because there's two more, right?
Yeah.
Are going to come back to conquer the Earth. And Goku is like,
oh no.
Oh shit. This is a development. Maybe I should tell my wife what's happening.
Nah.
No.
So Raditz takes off with Gohan. Goku can't follow him yet because he got beat up. Yep. And then Piccolo shows up and offers to team up with Goku.
Mm-hmm. And he says nobody can conquer this planet except me.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which I love that.
And then they take the radar, they head off together. While they're traveling, Raditz is picking up a high power level and he thinks it's broken. So he just takes his scabbard.
Yeah, because he's landed at wherever he's at and he's hanging out waiting for a day to pass.
Yeah.
And he senses this level. He's like, it must be broken. And then he senses two other high levels, 322 and 334, and it's Goku and Piccolo working together. And then they take their weighted clothing off, and their levels go up to 408 and 416.
And then Raditz just kind of still beats the shit out of him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then tells him that the other two Saiyans are even stronger than that, so...
And you're like,
not looking great so far. Episode 2, not looking up.
Yeah, it's pretty dark times here on Earth. And that wraps up 2.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty self-explanatory episode. It's setting everything up the way you need it. It's giving you the backstory we didn't get in Dragon Ball Z. It's tying everything together and forming a new adventure for us to take.
Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job. Other than that prologue that wasn't really necessary at the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but I guess being that there was some time elapsed between them.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that would be what it is.
Yeah, I guess.
Although
you don't get that prologue in
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
No,
well, I think that's just like clips from like the Bardock
special.
Yeah. That they were like, okay, this is canon, and then they like rolled it over for like context or whatever, because like it makes sense though, like to have that little bit if you are switching gears narratively in your story. Yeah. Because like it's quite jarring to be like, all right, I'm just an allegory for Sun Wukong, and it's just a magical fantasy show, and then it's like, oh shit, no, our guy's actually an alien the whole time. So,
and I think they know that like most of the people watching this are starting here.
Yeah,
right? Like most of the people watching this aren't watching Dragon Ball.
No, I would agree.
So like it just sets the tone of the show, I guess.
Yeah.
But when you go from one to the other, it's pretty jarring. But anyway, that brings us into episode 3. You want to take this one, Bren?
Yeah. The life or death battle. Goku and Piccolo's desperate attack. Goku and Piccolo begin to attack Raditz. Gohan reveals his first rage boost. Goku sacrifices himself by putting Raditz in a headlock, allowing Piccolo to use his special beam cannon. I'm not even going to try and pronounce like what it's actually called. It's like crazy.
Makanko Sapo?
Makanko Sapo.
Masama Mamusa.
Makanko Sapo.
Say on the side of the Michael's on.
Piccolo uses his special beam cannon, killing them both. Vegeta and Nappa decide to head to Earth to obtain the Dragon Balls.
Just one more time, it's Makanko Sapo. That's all of it spelled, like, syllabled out for you. Makanko Sapo.
We'll be using your skills later.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So it kind of opens up with Raditz chilling out by his space pod, which he threw Gohan in because he's being
super annoying.
He will not stop crying.
And so this is not just this episode thing. You're gonna see in this arc that he is a little bitch. Yeah. And like, I get it, you're 4, but like, shut up.
Yeah, he's like Navi from Ocarina of Time, but like,
I mean,
listen,
hey, listen, but more annoying actually. I think.
Which I hope that if like my kid gets like kidnapped,
that they're annoying.
It's just a little fucking hellion. I just like, hope that that's what happens.
You would. I mean, that's a very fair point. So Raditz is fighting Goku and Piccolo, and it's not going well for them. They can't seem to land a hit, and Raditz gets hit by a blast. Or no, Piccolo gets hit by a blast, and it just like takes his arm off.
Yeah.
So he's like,
down. And Goku's like, "Oh man, that sucked," and he's like, "Oh fuck."
And then like the energy blast like continues to go past him, like cuts through his arm and keeps going, and it hits like a mountain, and the mountain like explodes.
Yeah.
And he has like, basically like where like a t-shirt would be. That's how much arm he has.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, but we know he can regenerate.
But he doesn't. That's important to know.
But he doesn't.
So I think the reasoning behind that, because I wondered about this for a while, I think it's because he knows he can do the special beam cannon with one hand, and it's not easy. It does take a lot of energy for him to regrow an arm. So what I'm assuming is that he could either use special beam cannon, Makanko Sapo, or regrow an arm.
Mm-hmm. What's the move called?
Makan, fuck off.
So Piccolo starts to charge a new attack that he's been saving for Goku, and Raditz deflects a Kamehameha wave and dodges Piccolo's special beam cannon, also known as Makanko Sapo. Makanko Sapo.
Perfect.
Thank you. So at this point, it's still not looking good, but Goku grabs Raditz by the tail because he knows that that's his weakness, and that's why he doesn't have one, because he took it off. But Raditz gives him a sob story, and he's like, "I'll leave this planet."
The dumbest thing.
Such fucking.
I can't.
We got
honestly pissed me off.
We gotta remember, guys. Our boy's got brain damage. He's got like some real bad CTE.
I'm like, dude, even for you, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
It happens every time.
Every fucking time.
But
so he lets him go.
And then Raditz kicks the shit out of him.
Immediately beats his ass.
Yeah.
Which he kind of deserves for being.
No, you know what? I'm upset he didn't do more to beat the shit out of him. You honestly needed to learn lesson, Goku.
Yeah. It's a good learning opportunity for you.
But while all that's happening, we get our first little power surge from Gohan, who breaks out of a pod with a power level of 1307 and just clocks Raditz.
Yeah, just headbutts him so hard.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, at this point, he's, with those numbers, he's over 3 times stronger than Goku. He's stronger than Piccolo and Goku and another Goku combined.
I wish they just kept up that momentum from a boy.
Yeah. He's such a great character.
He wasn't destined for fame.
But he's such a good character, but he is an annoying little shit in this part of the show.
Arc for sure.
But he does headbutt Raditz in the chest super hard. So Raditz moves in to kill Gohan. He's like, we gotta take care of this.
So Gohan's
crazy.
power level drops immediately down to 1 after that attack. So it's a one shot.
And Raditz is like,
we're gonna nip this in the bud.
We're gonna kill this kid real quick because he is possibly a threat. But
Goku says, psych.
Yeah, and Gohan's power is very controlled by his emotions.
Yeah.
So and he can see that. So he's super weak after that at that point. But Goku grabs Raditz, puts him in a headlock. And Goku is like, all right, fire your cannon again. And Raditz is like, are you crazy? It's going to kill both of us. And Goku's like, whatever, I can get wished back to life. Because death has no meaning in this show.
Pretty much.
And
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
They both get a giant hole in the chest.
Yeah. It goes through them both. It's a pretty cool shot, it's pretty iconic.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because it hits Raditz.
I'd get that on a t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's now. Why did Piccolo feel the urge to tell him about the Dragon Balls?
Yeah, I was also irritated. Why?
I the only thing I can think of is that he's boasting after a victory, but
which is at this point that's kind of
what on par,
yeah.
But by doing that, we learn that the scouter that Raditz has been wearing is also a transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they've been talking about has gone right back to the other two Saiyans. Mm-hmm. So now the Saiyans know about the Dragon Balls.
Yep.
Because Piccolo was saying they're going to wish Goku back.
Yep. So the other two Saiyans, they're on another planet, doing whatever. They're
some hood rat shit.
Yeah, they're roasting some
people?
alien person on a campfire, and eating him. And it's kind of funny because Raditz to him those other two guys are his bros. And then the Vegeta, he's like, nah, screw that guy. Raditz was weak. He deserved to die.
Yeah.
Screw this guy. But those Dragon Balls sound pretty interesting. It would be nice to have immortality. And so they're like, yeah, we should check it out. So they say, yeah, we're going to head to Earth. And Raditz says it'll take him about a year to get there. And that wraps up what is known as the Raditz Saga. In approximately 1 hour, we get through it. Which, what a whirlwind.
Yeah.
The show is so jarring. I mean, we'll get used to it, I think. But at this point, I'm like, God, there's so much happening.
And again, we're not even done. Running into 4, which is Run in the Afterlife Goku, the 1 million mile Snake Way.
And I just want to say, I do not like the titles for these episodes.
No, it's really a pain in the butt.
They're always 2 parts, and they're long, and they're always very literal translations of what is going to happen.
Yeah.
I really miss the Dragon Ball ones where they're a little bit snarky, Yamcha's big break.
I mean,
stuff like that. Those are kind of fun. But these are
But we're not in a fun. This isn't a fun show anymore. Now we're in a serious action show.
Yeah, these are. And I feel these titles are very Japanese.
I think it's very indicative of what they were trying to do with the show. They wanted it to be close to the manga. They wanted it to be, no bullshit, no filler.
Right.
That's what you're going to get.
That's what we're getting.
So, in episode 4 here, Piccolo takes Gohan away to begin his special training, and Goku begins his journey along Snake Way.
Mm-hmm.
So, jumping right in here, we start with Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
who, she just knows that Goku and Gohan are having a good time.
She's like doing the dishes, honey. She's like,
you worry too much, Chi-Chi. They're having a great time. Yeah. And it's like, your husband's been murdered.
Your kid's about to get kidnapped again.
Yeah. So we see that Goku dies, right? He's dead. And his body disappears. Mm-hmm. Piccolo's like, Kami's probably got some stupid plan for him, something in another world.
Yep.
And then Bulma, Roshi, and I think Krillin, they show up.
They show up there. To the battlefield, they all mourn Goku versus Quick Tick, and then Bulma takes the Scouter.
Yeah.
Because she wants to mess around with it and find Tien, right?
Yeah, and Yamcha. And I think Krillin has a pretty heartfelt moment, right? With Goku, because Krillin has died.
Yeah, Krillin has died,
so
he does get there before Goku dies.
Yeah, and they have a brief talk. He's like, "You're gonna be okay," and he's like,
"Not this time.
No, I'm out, man."
Should have brought a sensu bean.
Take a right? What the?
Again, we're not there yet. 5 years apiece. 5 years apiece.
So dumb. They're so unprepared. I didn't even think about that.
So I'd have sensu beans on hand more than they would the Dragon Balls. It'd be like,
you would think you just have one for when you did a hard day's work. You're just tired.
I suppose.
You treat it like Adderall.
Silly.
So Bulma takes the Scouter.
Piccolo takes Gohan.
And Piccolo takes. They're like, "No, you're not taking him." And he's like, "No, it's not up for discussion."
Yeah,
he's coming with me.
Yep, and so then he kidnaps Gohan.
Yep, and Chi-Chi's gonna be thrilled.
Yeah, but before we get to there, we have to check in another world.
Yep.
So we get our first view into Otherworld here, and Kami takes Goku to meet King Yama.
Yep. And he's basically he's like St. Peter, kind of in heaven, I guess, where he decides. He's like,
yeah,
let's look at your record here. Are you coming to the good place or the bad place? So he's the judge, basically. And we've heard of Otherworld. We know that it exists because Grandpa Gohan came and visited Earth for a day back in the Baba Saga, and he kind of talked about it a little bit. But we've never seen it, and so now we're seeing it. And King Yama is also massive. He's a huge guy. He sits at a big desk with a giant stack of papers, and he's like, "All right, yeah, you can travel this thing called Snake Way to get some special training. It's really far away." And King Yama's like, all right, I guess. Sure. Why not? And so Goku asks about Raditz. He's like, have you seen did you see a guy with long hair come through here? And he's like, yeah, he went to hell. We're like, yeah, that's good. That about fits. And Kami also says that Shenron cannot wish the Saiyans away. Shenron cannot do that wish. It's too much. Mm-hmm. He's not capable.
Shenron's power is tied to Kami's power.
Right.
We'll learn. So, we do find out the Snake Way is about 1 million miles long, and the only person that's made it is King Yama.
Mm-hmm.
And if Goku falls off, he'll fall into hell, and he can't escape.
Right.
So he tells the driver to send a message back to, he asks him to send a message through Baba to Master Roshi to tell them to wait a year to wish him back so he can do some training.
Because at this point, Goku is in this little taxi cab. It's run by one of the people in Otherworld, and they're heading to the start of Snake Way. And he asks him to relay the message before he takes off. Because you would think that they're going to try to wish him back right away, right? So that's a good call, because if they would have wished him back right away, it would not have been a good thing.
Yeah.
So also we learn that, Snake Way is 1 million miles, which the circumference of the Earth is 20,000 miles. So this is 20 times 5 is 100,000 times 10. So 50. It's going
50
around the Earth
times.
50 times, basically.
Yeah.
Which is
It's a lot.
it's a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The moon is, I think, about 200,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So it's 5. It's the moon and back, and the moon and back, and the moon.
Yeah.
So he's got a trek. It's going to take a while.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think he said it would take about 6 months or something. Isn't that what, for some reason that's the guy said? I thought something like that.
I don't remember. But, I mean, speaking of Goku's death, we have officially decided that Krillin is going to be the one to tell Chi-Chi.
He drew the short straw.
He drew the short straw. But, unfortunately, Ox King is there, and, he just can't do it. And he just tells Chi-Chi that Goku is going to be late.
And he's like wearing a suit, and he's like got a hat, like he's, you know, like, and he like takes the hat off and like holds it at his chest. He's like ready to like give this news, but
He's got the folded flag in his arm.
yeah, pretty much. But he just can't do it. So we cut to Gohan and Piccolo, and they start training, and he promptly just starts crying. He just starts doing that thing that he's been doing. And Piccolo's like, no, you have special powers. And he's like, Gohan's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, you do, see? And he grabs him, he picks him up, and just
chucks him.
Yeets him into a mountain. And
fuck.
he's like about to like just like slam into this mountain, and then he like uses his rage boost, and he like destroys the mountain. And there's like this giant like hole in the ground, and it's like goes super far off into the distance. And he's like, did I do that? And he's like, yeah, you a special boy.
And and then it just shows Goku running along Snake Way. We'll have that for an episode or two.
Yep. That brings us into episode 5, and I just want to say, in these episodes, as they start to like have different sets of characters doing different things, we're gonna talk about it a little bit differently, where we're gonna like talk about everything that's happening with Goku, and then go to everything that's happening with Piccolo, so that we're not like going back and forth and it's like confusing.
That's pretty fair.
Just so you guys know. So this episode is called Wilderness Survival. A moonlit night awakens Gohan. Gohan uses his hidden powers accidentally and ends up stuck on a mountain. Yajirobe delivers the news to Krillin that the Z Fighters have been summoned to Kami's lookout to receive special training. Gohan transforms into a great ape, and Piccolo destroys the moon. So we get started with Piccolo saying that he's going to leave Gohan alone for 6 months. That's the start of his training.
Which is funny.
Because he's 4.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Like, hey, like, I'm going to leave. You survived for 6 months.
And he, like, doesn't give him anything.
Mm-mm.
Like, not even, like, a flint and steel. Like, nothing.
Nothing.
And he's 4. But if he survives, Piccolo will train him. So at some point, he's being chased by a dinosaur, and then his powers activate, because it seems like they just activate when he's in like
crisis mode.
Yeah, like in real serious life danger. And then he like ends up on top of a giant cliff, it's like super tall and it's like super steep, and he's just like up on top of this thing, and he like doesn't know how he got there. And he's like, oh, well, this isn't good because you can't get any food or anything. And then he like falls asleep after Piccolo gives him some sour apples, a couple sour apples.
It just pissed me off. Bro, Piccolo like broke his rule and gave him apples, and Gohan was like, yeah, apples. Eats them, and he's like, these are sour.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, dude. God.
Yeah. So like,
such a bitch.
Piccolo said he's going to leave him alone, but he kind of is keeping an eye on him.
He's helping out. He's not going to let him die. You know, he understands that it's Goku's kid.
And then it's the middle of the night, and he like wakes up, and he's like, why is it so bright? And then he looks up at the full moon, and like Piccolo's watching this, and we see the Ozuru transformation, which is pretty awesome. I mean, we've seen it a couple times now, but like,
it's always good though.
Your eyes turn red, your teeth start to form fangs, like hair starts to grow on your body, and then you like burst out of your clothes because you start to grow, and you just get like super huge, and then he just like jumps off of the cliff and just starts destroying everything, and Piccolo's like, what the hell is this? Because he doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't think. So he pretty quickly determines that it was from the moon because of what Raditz said earlier about Goku.
Mm-hmm.
And so he blows it up. So now we have no moon again for the second time. Hopefully Man-Wolf's okay. Hopefully he's not in his wolf form. But we'll never find out. And then after he blows up the moon, he like turns back into his normal self, and he's just laying on the ground naked and passed out. And Piccolo just like grabs his tail and just like rips it off, just pop, plucks it. And then he gives him clothes, because as we've stated, clothes don't make sense in this show. He just makes some clothes appear.
Yeah.
So
clothes beam.
They're pretty cool. They're like the orange.
It's the orange gi with the demon symbol.
Yeah, but it's got Piccolo's symbol on it instead of.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
and then
nice.
the sword too that he gives him. I don't know if you.
I wish he would keep it. I wish he would have kept those clothes.
Yeah. Well, they kind of got torn to shreds throughout his training, I think.
Yeah. It's too bad he can't just like magically make new clothes appear.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, how convenient that would be. But he also gives him a sword, which is nice because you need something, right?
Yeah.
And then Kami's like up in the other world, and he's like, I can sense that something is changing inside Piccolo. He's becoming good, or something to that extent.
Yeah, whatever. Foreshadowing. Goku pretty much just runs this whole episode and then almost falls into hell. It's the only thing Goku does.
Yeah, because he's like, wait, I could jump from platform to platform.
Yeah.
Because he can't fly yet. I don't think. So he's like jumping, because the path like winds and twists and turns.
Yeah.
But he like misses a landing, and he like almost falls into hell. Like he's like on top of clouds, and then like these shadowy hands come out of the clouds and start to pull him in, and he's just like kind of does like a Looney Tunes like or Scooby Doo like kicks really hard and like climbs back up top.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I probably shouldn't do that again. And then we see Chi-Chi and Ox King, and Chi-Chi is pretty pissed off. And they are in a car, and they're heading towards the Kami house very fast. And
it's very reasonable.
Yes. And Ox King is like, oh, they probably just lost track of time or whatever. And Chi-Chi's like, well, he could have called. It's just bad parenting. Like, yeah.
Like, she's not wrong.
It would be bad parenting.
But they get there to Kami house, and then they find out that Goku is kind of
actually worse.
Dead.
Well, Krillin and Roshi and Bulma talk about it first, and Krillin's like, yeah, I couldn't do it. But then he was supposed to also grab the other two Dragon Balls, because Goku said earlier that they have them, but he didn't even do that. So Bulma's like, what good are you, man? Like, you kind of suck. But Bulma can work her computer wizardry, and she turns the Scouter to English. So it's something that they can now understand. So they do some power levels, and Roshi is 139 and Krillin is 206. Which
respectable.
Yeah. I would like to see max power Roshi. I wonder what that power level would be. That's got to be breaking 200, right?
Oh yeah. I still would bet on Roshi to win.
Yeah, and it's too bad he doesn't. Well, anyway, Yajirobe shows up, and he's like, "Hey, you need to come to Core Tower, and bring Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu with you." And Master Roshi's like, why not me? And I was like, yeah, why not him? That would have been sweet to see Master Roshi fight in this. But it doesn't happen. So he also says, and don't wish Goku back until the Saiyans arrive. And then Chi-Chi and Ox King show up at the Kami House. And Roshi's like, Goku is kind of dead. And then he also tells her that Gohan was kidnapped by the guy who almost took over the world 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think she passes out, right?
She does.
Yeah. She like does that thing. She like gets lightheaded and passes out.
Yeah.
And that's the end of episode 5. Flying through this thing.
Yeah.
Just flying.
You got to if you want to cover all this information.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You want to take episode 6, John?
Let's do it. Episode 6, The End of Snake Way, King Kai's Bizarre Test. Tien Shenhan, Krillin, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Yajirobe begin their training on the lookout. Piccolo begins training Gohan. Goku reaches the end of Snake Way. Goku begins his training with King Kai.
Yes.
The year is now 762. Goku is 25. Gohan is 5.
Yes.
There's a ton of filler that we...
Tons. Like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
We skip all of like Gohan like befriends a robot in the wilderness.
Which is the worst part, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But like there's
a snake lady.
There's a snake lady. I actually like that.
Yeah, the snake lady was cool.
Funny. Yeah, it's like
we skip Tien is hanging out at at a waterfall thing with Launch, right?
Yeah.
So they're like living together.
Yeah.
We skip that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Goku actually does fall into hell.
Into hell.
And he has to like he's like fucking with the two
ogres.
Yeah, the red and the blue guy.
Yeah.
And Yamcha also is a professional baseball player.
Yep.
That gets skipped.
Yeah.
Which
I think that's canon though.
That is canon.
Yeah, I think it becomes canon, But
it does.
I really like that. I mean,
kind of
I do
Wolfang Fist to a pitching arm.
I do like I've said I do feel for Yamcha because he's just like a normal ass dude who's like trying to compete with like these like literal aliens.
Yeah.
And if I was in his shoes, I think it's pretty smart to become an athlete.
Yeah.
Because you can like be the best baseball player of all time.
Yeah.
Make a shitload of money.
Yeah. And you're still the worst Z fighter.
Yeah. And
Chaozu.
Yeah. Chaozu's barely even a Z fighter. He's like, he's almost like Poir.
I don't even know why they wanted. Like, you really chose Chaozu to come to the lookout over Roshi?
Over Roshi? Yeah, I know. But
anyways,
we skip
a lot of the filler, and then we catch up with Gohan, who has his hair's grown a little bit. He's doing pretty all right. He's beating up a dinosaur, cuts off a smidge. I think that's really silly. He cuts off a slice of a dinosaur's tail, and you can tell he's been doing it for a while.
It's funny because the dinosaur like comes up to him like, and he's like all beat up, and it's the same. Where we think it's the same dinosaur from the very beginning. Yeah. And he's like got scars on him now and like half of his tail's gone. And Gohan's like, all right, let's do this again. So he like runs and the dinosaur, I think, slams into a rock. And then Gohan comes down with his sword and just cuts off a nice flank, just a nice steak.
So silly. And then it shows him cooking it on the sword.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, for a 5-year-old, pretty good.
Pretty fucking capable.
And then, I mean, think about actually like how strong Gohan is, right? Because when Dragon Ball started, how old was Goku? Like 12 or 13 or something? And Gohan is 5. And he's so much stronger than anybody was at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
This kid's a prodigy. Yeah. Like, for real. The Michael Jordan of fighting.
Oh, yeah.
So, the 6 months go by, and Piccolo's like, you did good, kid. And then they start actually training.
Yeah.
Goku also has been running. So, we assume he's been running for this entire 6-month journey. Without food, I guess.
Well, he said that you don't need food.
Right. but he still gets hungry, right?
Yeah, you still get hungry, but you don't need food.
So he reaches the end and he's like, what the hell? There's nothing here. And then he looks up and there's a small little planet. And he's like, all right, I guess that's it. So he jumps up there and gets into the like gravitational field, and he like slams into the ground, and he's like, what is going on? And he can like barely walk because the gravity is so strong. And then he meets Bubbles.
Yeah.
And he thinks Bubbles is King Kai. I love it.
He does think that.
Bubbles starts like moving his arms up and down, just like being a monkey, and Goku's like, all right, I guess I'll just copy you. So he starts to do the same thing. And I wish Frieza could see that. Frieza would have been.
Oh, he would have really had that one as a treat.
Yeah.
But King Kai has a test, and it is, well, you have to make King Kai laugh, because King Kai is a comedian.
He is.
Yeah. So the only thing better than his martial arts is his comedy. And the joke that gets him is Goku says, I sold my car for gas money.
Which is pretty good, right?
Pretty good joke, yeah.
But like the way he says it, his delivery is really funny. He's like, I sold my car for gas money.
Yeah.
And King Kai like laughs. He tells a couple more jokes before that, and those are pretty good too.
But yeah, they're all decent, but that was my favorite one.
I really like King Kai as a character.
Yeah.
He's like all the good things about Roshi. But you know, they take out like the stuff that is
the pervy stuff.
Maybe they were like, we need to not have this be a thing anymore. So they just like kind of pushed it aside.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we learned that the gravity is actually 10 times stronger than it is on Earth. Which, I mean, if Goku weighs around 200 pounds, then it would feel like he weighs 2,000 pounds on this planet. So, yeah, it'd be pretty hard to move around.
Yeah.
So, King Kai checks in on the Saiyans, and they're going to show up in 158 days. He also says that time is multiplied on his planet, so his 158 days of training translates to years of training. And they never really explain how that works or how that happens. And I don't know if he just means like the training's going to be so intense because of the gravity that it's going to be equivalent to that.
Well, gravity affects time dilation, so
it does.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That, you know,
that's true.
Some interstellar shit.
There'd be something going on there. Yeah. So we also learn that the Saiyans are stronger than he is, than King Kai.
What's the fucking point of view?
Yeah, right. But he knows some cool tricks. And Goku has to catch Bubbles, the monkey. So he removes his weighted clothing, which he decided to leave on for his entire trip there.
Okay, the only thing I can say about that is that he didn't want to, like, he would have to leave them behind permanently if he took them off on Snake Way.
Mm-hmm.
So
it'd just be...
If only somebody could magically make clothes appear.
Yeah. He didn't know that King Kai could do
that. Yeah, fair enough. So then we cut to the Z Fighters and Yajirobe. Is Yajirobe a Z Fighter?
I'd say yeah.
Technically.
Yajirobe is a Z Fighter.
Technically. Yeah. So the Z Fighters. He does stuff. So they show up they're on the lookout now. And we don't know, did they get the power? They must have got the power pole at some point to get up there, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
somehow
somebody went and got it. Krillin probably went and got the power pole. And so they're up on the lookout to train with Kami. And Yamcha's got new hair. He's got long hair, like at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like being a super cool baseball player. And he's like trying to look cool.
These fucking bitches get in line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that concludes episode 6. You want to take 7, Brad?
Yeah. The battle with 10 times gravity. Goku races against the clock. Goku catches Bubbles. Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Yajirobe complete their training with Kami. Goku hits Gregory with the mallet.
Yes. So we learned that the Saiyans also live at 10 times gravity, which is that on planet Vegeta, or is that...
Yes, that's what he's implying.
Okay.
I would imagine.
But
He says the Saiyan's home planet,
which isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
But,
So you would just know that because he's been around.
Yeah, I guess. So you know that it's been 3 weeks and Goku has still not caught Bubbles. And we know that Goku is being very serious because King Kai offers him food and he is not interested. It's like the least Goku thing I've ever seen him do.
Mm-hmm.
Other than when he hit Piccolo when he was down in the last saga. That's a very not Goku thing as well. So he's growing up. He finally catches him, and he basically uses the Pac-Man strategy, where since the planet is small, you can run in the opposite direction, and you'll meet up with them on the other side. So he throws the hammer. No, this is before the hammer. He just runs the other way and hides, and then jumps out at him and gets him.
Yeah.
And then King Kai's like, maybe he can master the Kaioken technique, which we haven't heard of yet. I love the Kaioken technique. It's so good. It's so cool. But we'll get into it later. Then what happens after that?
That's when Gregory comes in. And then Goku gets his second task, which is he gives him a super heavy mallet and he's got to hit Gregory. I also wanted to point out that when this training started and when he was chasing Bubbles, King Kai had him put the weighted clothing back on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he had been training with weighted clothing on the whole time.
Which is like an extra, 200 pounds?
Roughly.
Which is...
No.
Wasn't it? Or no?
Yeah, roughly 200.
Which is like basically doubling his weight.
Yeah.
On this 10 times gravity planet. So he's trying to catch Gregory. He's got to hit him with the mallet, which at first he can like barely pick up because it's so heavy. And it's pretty funny because it like cuts to, I think, 2 weeks later, and the whole planet is just like trapped. There's like holes in the ground, like from swinging the mallet.
He ends up hitting King Kai's car.
His car is like just completely wrecked. And I think you see him like working on the car. King Kai's like fixing it.
Yeah.
And then while he's fixing it, like he hits it again. And like the windshield breaks. And, like it's pretty funny.
And the way he catches Gregory is pretty cool. Like when he's finally there, he finally is right behind him. He throws the hammer around the planet, turns around, catches it, and gets him with like the littlest bonk.
Yeah. It's like dink.
And then King Kai tells him that he might have the heart to be able to do the spirit bomb.
Yeah, which is also a new concept we don't know anything about. But it sounds promising. Piccolo and Gohan are still training. And then Piccolo gets mad because Gohan's like, my dad's told me about you. And he says you're just more grumpy than evil. Piccolo's like, I demand to be taken seriously. And he's like, in his head, he's like, insolent brat. I love their banter. They make a great
They do make a great duo.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole show.
Through the whole show. So the boys are up on the lookout and they finish their training. I think it's kind of funny because they show Yamcha and Tien sparring. And then they show Krillin and Yajirobe sparring, but Yajirobe's just like eating food and dodging Krillin's hits. Like he's not really taking it very seriously. And then I'm not sure what Chaozu's doing. Is he training with Mr. Popo? Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And then you also see...
Maybe he's doing math. He's working on his math skills, maybe.
We also see the future in this episode from Baba. And there is none for the Earth.
There is no future.
So that's ominous. Yeah. And then the last thing that we know about in this episode is that Vegeta and Nappa pass by Jupiter.
Yeah, and in my head I was like, wait, they must be really close then. How could they be like, if it was 158 days and it's been a little over a month, I'm like, where is this planet that they were on that's like twice as far as Jupiter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, were they just on Saturn?
Well, apparently, the universe that Dragon Ball Z exists in is a lot bigger than our own.
Right.
So I would imagine things are just a bit more spaced out.
Yeah.
Well, we also learned that they're actually getting there quicker than we thought.
Yes, they are early. But
that brings us to episode number 8. Shenron appears. The Saiyans arrive sooner than expected. Goku uses the Spirit Bomb for the first time on screen and is brought back to life. The Saiyans land on Earth. So, that's basically how the episode starts. They're like, it's your last day of training, Goku. Let's look at all the things you can do. And he catches Bubbles in 0.5 seconds. And he hits Gregory with a mallet in 1.2 seconds. Where it took him 3 weeks and 2 weeks the first time. So he's getting better. He uses the Spirit Bomb. And we learn a little bit about it. It like draws energy from every living thing on the planet. So like the grass and the trees and all that stuff. King Kai says it's very dangerous, so only use it if you absolutely have to.
So we absolutely have to.
So we know he's gonna use it, right? But then King Kai's like, oh, I forgot. You can't get brought back to Earth unless you go back to Yema's desk, which
I call bullshit.
Why?
Yeah, I call bullshit. All you would have had to do, I think, is just add in wish Goku back to life on Earth. And I think that should have covered it. You're going to tell me Kami's power can't bring him back to Earth?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess. Sure, that's fine. So he's like, oh shit, it's going to take me forever to get back there. And he's like, no, with all your training, it should take about 2 days. So he tells Roshi, Goku puts his hand on King Kai's back, and he's able to talk telepathically to Roshi, who's sitting on the toilet. I think he's reading a magazine.
Yeah, that's when he starts talking to Goku in the bathroom,
and like his pants are at his ankles.
Well, and then they show a shot of Bulma and Oolong listening from outside the bathroom, and they think he's going crazy.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell?
He like bursts through the bathroom door with his like pants still down. He's like, go get the Dragon Ball.
I love that they like sprinkle in the humor stuff.
Yeah.
It really like helps, I think, to with the tone, like just to lighten things up a little bit. So King Kai gives Goku new clothes because clothes don't matter, and they have King Kai's symbol on the back instead of the Turtle Hermit School.
But it still has Turtle Hermit School on the front.
On the front, yes, it has it on the front, but then on the back it's King Kai.
The bigger one.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's cool how they like change the emblems based on
where you're at,
where
your training. Yeah, I agree.
With Gohan's and his now. It's cool. Gohan and Piccolo are still training. Let's see. Roshi, Bulma, Oolong, and Puar summon Shenron, who makes his 5th appearance.
Is it 5th?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was the underwear wish. Then
we don't have to recap them.
Upa's father, and then Piccolo, King Piccolo, and then Piccolo Jr.
What Piccolo Jr. wish for?
What did Piccolo Jr. wish for? Am I forgetting something?
I don't think Piccolo Jr. ever used the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
Did they do something at the end?
Not to my knowledge.
Nobody dies.
Maybe it's the 4th. Well,
if you count Dead Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you count Dead Zone.
Dead Zone.
If you count Dead Zone.
No, most definitely we count Dead Zone.
Alright, so there's 4. So
we go with the original plan, which was wish Goku back to life.
Yep, and then we see Gohan and Piccolo, and Gohan's like, why is the sky so dark in the middle of the day? But Piccolo knows what's going on. And then Gohan also has new clothes. He like has the blue clothes that Piccolo wears.
Yeah, he does.
His own little version of it. I liked the orange better, but I get it. So Goku loses his halo, and he starts to head back. And then at the end, this is a really good scene where we get the Saiyans landing on Earth. It's just like a shot of the city, and it's calm and peaceful, and like there's like a father and a daughter, I think, and the daughter's like, let's go get ice cream or something, and the dad like looks at his watch and it like shows that it's like 11:43, and then the space pods like come in and they land in East City, which I thought it was interesting. That's where Orin Temple is in East City. Which is where Krillin's from.
Yeah,
originally. So I don't think Krillin's bullies are going to be much help in this fight.
No, probably not.
People are like panicking as they do, right? They're like, "What the hell's going on?" And all the Z fighters can sense that they're here, right? And then Nappa and Vegeta get out of their space pods, and they're very menacing looking. And that's the end of that one, right?
Yep.
And that brings us to 9. You want to take it, John?
Yeah. Oh, it's a classic episode.
It is.
Yamcha's struggle, the terrible Cybermen. Nappa destroys East City. The Z Warriors meet the Saiyans. Piccolo and Kami learn that they are from planet Namek. Vegeta executes a Cyberman for failing to defeat Tien. Yamcha is killed by a Cyberman.
A lot happens in this episode.
A lot of stuff goes on in this one.
And this episode is basically a 1-for-1 of like one of the uncut episodes.
Yeah.
Basically. Like this one is super important. So Nappa destroys East City, like right away.
Yeah, and it's pretty dope. They show like a shot of the Earth and you can see it
like from space.
Yeah.
Like a giant explosion. Like it's like, I mean, it's not even like a nuclear bomb. It's bigger.
Yeah, most definitely
it's like
bigger.
Just massive. And then we kind of learn the dynamic between Vegeta and Nappa, because Nappa's like, yeah, that'll show him. And then Vegeta's like, what are you doing, you idiot? You're wasting power. And what if the Dragon Balls were here and now they're gone? So like you can tell that like Vegeta's like smaller, but he's like in charge.
Yeah.
And he's the stronger one. And Nappa's kind of like the big oaf kind of.
Which is pretty common.
And he just like wants Vegeta's like respect, I think, but he's not quite there. He's not quite getting it.
Yeah.
So they like turn on their scouters, and there's multiple power levels that are over 1,000, and they're like, all right, we're gonna just go to the strongest one and take him out. And they pick up 2 power levels, which we can assume are Piccolo and Gohan, and they head right there. And they land where Piccolo's like, get ready, Gohan, here they come. And then they're there right away, immediately. And the Z fighters are right behind them. Vegeta recognizes Piccolo's voice as the one who killed Raditz. And he's like, oh, you have green skin or whatever. You look like you're from the planet Namek. And Piccolo's like, what? I'm from where now? And he like has an existential crisis.
Yeah.
As does Kami.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I never knew where I was from, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's listening in. Kami's listening in. So that's a big reveal, right? Because we knew that they weren't from Earth, but we didn't know where they were from. So it turns out everyone in the show is an alien. So Nappa is like, oh, we got 6 guys and we got 6 Cybermen. This will be perfect. So he like takes these seeds and he plants them in the ground. And then there's let's see, Piccolo and Krillin start fighting against the Cybermen. Is that what happens? Or is it against Nappa?
The Cybermen first. Well, first the
like before
the Z fighters get there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they start for like a second, and then Tien and Chaozu come in before anything really happens, and then Yamcha, or no, Krillin's first, then Tien, Chaozu, then Yamcha. Mm-hmm. And so the plan is to fight all of them 1v1, and
well, Tien goes first.
Yeah, Tien goes first in the 1v1s, and he wins relatively easily.
Yep. And then Vegeta's like, you have failed, you're a disgrace. And he like makes him explode. And you like see him blow up. It's like his eye pops out and it's like pretty cool. And then we learn that the Cybermen's powers are 1200, which is nothing to scoff at, right? Because Raditz was like, I don't know what, but less than that.
Yeah, I think it's like 1100.
And then Krillin wants to fight the next one, but Yamcha's like, no, I'm going to do it because you've already died and you can't come back. I don't know when they established that you can't do the same wish twice.
I'm assuming when they spent time with Kami.
Yeah, must have been. But I don't think they talk about it on screen. So Yamcha's like, it'll be fine. I'll take out the other 5 by myself. Classic Yamcha.
Classic Yamcha move.
He gets too cocky. And he takes one of them out. And then we see
a camera crew.
Yeah, there's like a camera crew like in the back.
Very, very like 2 people. Like a microphone and a camera on one of the cliffs.
Like far away. And so like Roshi and the rest of them are watching this on TV. And they see Yamcha defeat one. Yeah,
he has it pretty well. He does well.
Yeah, he did.
And then he's standing and he tells the rest of the gang he did a good job, and that's enough time for the Cyberman to wrap his arms around Yamcha.
Gives him a bear hug.
Look at that classic image.
Yeah. Of Yamcha in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he's just laying there. And Puar's like, no! And he's like hitting the TV. And it's like, you know.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know if this is like something they show in like the next episode, but like there's that scene where like Bulma is like fucked up, and then like Roshi is like being like genuinely caring and like consoling, and I'm like, that's refreshing.
That's
and
what
then
I need.
Like time goes on and he just goes back
to the same.
And I'm like,
come on.
I would have liked that to just kind of just been like, oh, one of my students just died.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to not be.
Grow from this.
Yeah.
I think that's in the next one. But yes, that is very nice to see. But he doesn't really have a whole lot of growth.
Yeah.
No, you have to keep in mind Roshi's also over 300 years old.
Yeah, people don't usually change after 300. They usually stay the way they are.
Yep.
But then it cuts to Goku and he's going down Snake Way, and we know that he can fly now. This is like the first time we see like, yes, 100%.
Yeah, Hundi P.
You can fly. He is flying down Snake Way, and he's moving very fast. And I think at first he's like jumping around and just being like, the gravity here is so light, and then he's like, wait, I need to be serious, and so he takes off.
Yeah, it does take him a second to get serious about it, which is silly, but.
And that's where we leave off.
That's our end point.
First half of the Saiyan saga. So in a couple of weeks we'll have Saiyan Saga Part 2. 1 or 2 weeks, I'm not sure yet. Saiyan Saga Part 2, where we will wrap it up and get into the Frieza Saga from there, which is a doozy.
That'll be a long one.
Yeah.
And arguably, well, one of the peaks of the entire series, I think.
Well, it's where the natural conclusion is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening in, guys. And we'll see you next time.
See y'all later.